Welcome to the Character Chronicles, the People Show. Check the pulse of Husker Nation. And ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't sure it was going to happen. I got up this morning and there was serious doubt in my mind, serious question marks, but I looked outside and sure enough, it had happened. The sun came up again this morning. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. Now, all right, if you watched my gut reaction last night, I was frustrated, I was conflicted, I was all of the above, and then some. Okay, and I'm going to dive into a lot of things here. This show right here, right now, today, is the 5 things that I saw last night that legit encouraged me, and 5 things we need to get better at as a team. Okay, and it wasn't hard to come up with 5 on either side. In fact, I've got a bonus for you at the end, and it's probably the most important / my favorite one. So stay tuned for the end of this show to hear that. And it's interesting because I checked out John Johnston of Corn Nation, his gut reaction. I checked out Connor Hayden, Corn Crazed on YouTube, his reaction, his live reaction that he did. And you can go check all that out at characterchronicles.com, cheap plug. But in all seriousness, I'm like, wow, these guys are way more calm than I am. Like, I guess I just marched to the beat of my own drum. I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but they were much more calm than me. But it was interesting because I know how I operate. I slept on it. I woke up this morning. I dissected the film. Okay. And here are my takeaways. All right. More positives than negatives, but I'll dive into that. All right. And I'm going to go back and forth between what I saw that was good and what needs to be fixed and addressed. Okay. So I'm going to start with something that stood out to me immediately. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, that we have a stout defense. Okay. They are representing the black shirts with pride. And this defense is going to keep us in games and give us an opportunity to win games this year. Now, if you are fully on board with this 3-3-5 defense, like I'm pretty much on board now, if you're on board with me, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple of quick stats. Minnesota only rushed for 55 yards. This is a team that has pushed us around year after year after year, unfortunately. They only averaged 2.2 yards per carry. They only had 251 yards of total offense, okay, and they averaged 4.5 yards per completion. And if you thought Nebraska wasn't throwing the ball downfield, by comparison, we averaged 6 yards per completion, which is also not great when you're trying to stretch the field vertically, but that's a good job by our defense, frankly. All right, now, something that needs to be improved. Number 1 in this category, Jeff Sims. He has 24 career starts, 31 career touchdown passes, and 26 career interceptions. He needs to take care of the ball and work through his reads better. All right, the next thing that stuck out to me as something to be optimistic and happy about, to this point anyways, our special teams is clearly better. Our coverage teams looked good, and Ramir Johnson's 65-yard kickoff return set up our only touchdown of the day. All right, the next thing that needs to get improved on. The offensive line looked better. Let's be honest. I don't know how they weren't going to look better compared to last year, but they looked a little bit better, but they still have to get better, especially in our pass protection. All right, next up in things that encouraged me, I found a positive in, legit, okay, positive in, we were a physical team. We were. All right, we tackled very well on defense. Praise the Lord, okay, and we averaged nearly 5 yards a carry, 5 yards per rush on offense. I wouldn't call us explosive, okay, by any stretch, all right, but we were physical. All right, the next thing on the other list that needs to be improved on, all right, so a couple of decisions, okay? Giving the ball, and I talked about this, I've seen it talked about elsewhere, but giving the ball to a back with fumbling issues with about 5 minutes to go in the game doesn't make any sense. All right, every human being is created equal, right? But not every football play is created equal. And one play does not determine the outcome of a game. To be clear, one play does not determine the outcome of a game. But you can't tell me, for example, the 2-point conversion attempt, 1983 national championship game versus Miami, is that play no more important than any other play in Nebraska football history? Here's my point, and I'm not pointing the finger at a player. I'm like, what about this decision? Okay, Anthony Grant's a dynamic running back, but he's had fumbling issues, so why is he the guy with the ball in his hands late in the game? That's a coaching decision, okay? All right. Also, late in the third, early fourth quarter, I felt like we were about to take over the game. We were running the ball well, and we threw 3 straight passes at that point. Again, something I didn't quite understand, something that this coaching staff, this team will grow and learn through together. All right, now real quick, all right, DPS Construction. They do a great job. They want quality workers. But if you're someone who's looking to have work done, if you're a general contractor, building owner, or property manager, okay, looking for concrete repair or work done in the Omaha metro area, such as street paving, building floors, and parking lots, check out dpsconstruction.net. All right, here's the deal. To put a bow on the thought I just had, when you're making that kind of money, there's a level of accountability that comes with some of these decisions. And I think that that's fair. Okay, that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to be fair here, both sides of the coin, because I'm going to come back to the coaches in just a minute. All right. Now, the next thing that stuck out to me as a positive, we were the stronger team in the second half. I felt like we were about ready to take over the game at a certain point. Okay. Our strength and conditioning is clearly improved. The next thing that needs to be improved upon, okay, Minnesota didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. All right. We left 10 to 14 points on the table. And at the end, obviously, the fumble that I just addressed, okay, gave them a big time opportunity late in the game to get the ball back. Now, I laid out last night how we left those points in my gut reaction, how we exactly left them on the table. So you can check that out if you want. The fact that we lost is what bothers me the most. Okay, the fact that it was ugly didn't bother me the most. I predicted it would be ugly and close and low scoring. Okay, it's how we lost. It just seemed all too familiar. Okay, the next thing that's a positive to me, legit a positive. Okay, and it's not like we ran the ball down their throats here, but we averaged nearly 5 yards per carry. We were averaging over 7 yards per carry at one point in the game. Jeff Sims is dynamic with his feet. He's a dynamic playmaker with his feet. 6'4", 220, and he can run. And I love seeing the option. I want to see even more of it. But I thought that that was a positive. All right. One last thing that definitely needs to be improved upon is we need some pass catchers to step up. Wide receivers, tight ends. There's nobody stretching the field vertically. Okay, right now the most exciting wide receiver we have is our backup quarterback, Heinrich Haarberg, coming in at the moment. So that is something that needs to be improved upon sooner rather than later. And that'll help Jeff Sims out when it comes to his touchdowns, to completion percentage, to INTs that he throws or doesn't throw. Okay, that'll help him out. There's a lot on his shoulders right now. He's got to get better, but the people around him have to help him get better too. Here's my bonus. All right. And there were obvious coaching adjustments that were made throughout the game. We clearly have a good head coach and a good defensive coordinator. All right, our program is in the hands of someone who has done this before, and it shows, ladies and gentlemen. Temple, I believe he won 1 game, or 2 games in year 1, and Baylor, he won 1 game in year 1. I still believe we can go 7-5 this year, per my prediction video from a couple of weeks ago, and go to a bowl game. I believe we'll beat Colorado, and then we can beat Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech and be 3-1 heading into that Michigan game at home. It's year 1, folks. Okay, it's game 1. Let's not get trigger happy here, and I'm throwing myself into this too, but I can't control how I react immediately following a game, but I'm working on it. But I also am who I am, but I digress. I have no problem holding Matt Rhule and the coaches accountable when necessary. But here's what I saw. I saw a Nebraska football team last night that had exhibited characteristics of a tough, physical football team that got stronger as the game went along, that still needs to get better. I can't believe he hasn't fixed everything by game 1 already. What's taking so long? Okay, I digress. In all seriousness, let's give the coaches some time to figure it out, okay? After processing, the way we lost is what bothered me the most. But there's so many things to feel positive about and the obvious improvements that I'm sure are going to come as this year goes along. 3 questions I have for you. Let me know in the comments below. Is there anything I missed, positive or negative? Let me know. Will we beat Colorado? Yes or no, let me know. And what do you think our record will be going into that Michigan game? Do you agree that we'll be 3-1? If you missed my football gut reaction, volleyball gut reaction, you can check them out at characterchronicles.com along with John Johnston, Corn Nation, and Doc Talk. Go Big Red Nose. Remember, throw the bug.